What up, nerds? My name is Leslie Smith. Welcome to the Nerdy Narrative. Happy Friday! Here we are, another week has come to a close. I hope you all had the chance to get some good reading in. I did. I had some really enjoyable things that I read this week. I can't wait to share with you. But first, I want to show you a couple of pieces of book mail. First up is this huge chunker called Nomads of the Sea by Kobe Zucker. It's book one of The Fish Gut Guard. Yes, that is an epic name for the series. I am assuming it's going to take place in or around the sea, obviously from the name of the series. But just with a series name like The Fish Gut Guard, I have to know what this one's about. There is the cover for you. I'm very curious because this guy's eyes look completely black, almost like a demon. So is he a demon of the sea? I will link this one down in the description box below so you can check it out on Goodreads, read the blurb, see if it's one you might be interested in. This is one the author emailed me about to see if I was interested. I read the information provided. It sounded like one that was going to be right up my alley. So I said, yes, I would absolutely love to read this book. So I am so excited to see what this one's going to be about. Like, this is a proper fantasy size book, if you ask my opinion. And next up, I have this little package here that looks like it is from Norway. Now, I recognize the sender's name. That is Helen Rye Peterson, who is the author of Waking Ursa Minor. Let's see what this is. I'm going to have to save this envelope because I love that stamp on there from Norway. And I just keep little stuff like that because I'm weird. I do a memory box. Oh, look. Wow. Oh my gosh. Oh, and here's a note. It's a handwritten letter. I do not know the last time I received a handwritten letter. So I'll read you the part that has to do with this here. Here is my short story, Heifer, as a thank you. Be prepared though. It is somewhat controversial and divisive. But seeing as you also read a lot of Stephen King stories, I think you can handle it. Oh, this one is going into the short story rotation immediately. I will talk to you guys about this one next week on the channel. For those of you who missed it, all of my shorter sized stories, novellas, I do a little short fiction Saturday video now where I talk about those. So next week, be looking out for what this one is about. I am so excited. Now, before we get into the books, I want to take a moment to shout out a huge thank you to two of my newest top tier patrons, Kaiju8 and Amanda Serenity. Thank you both so very much for becoming a patron of the Nerdy Narrative. I appreciate your support, your faith in what it is I'm doing here on the channel. Both of you joined at the same time. It was perfect timing because I needed to get a subscription to another service for a project I'm working on. The first one of that project should be showing up either next week or the week after. I'm gonna be shooting the final scenes I need for that today. So when that first one goes up on the channel, I want the two of you to know you were instrumental in helping make that happen. So guys, thank you so much. And to all of my patrons, every time you all notice something different on the channel, something new, something upgraded, just the overall quality, all of that is because of the patrons of the Nerdy Narrative. Their support is helping to make sure I keep things looking good, interesting, entertaining. So guys, thank you so, so much. Now for the book talk. First up, The Book of Cold Cases by Simone St. James. This book is the first pick of the Wine and Crime Book Club. That is a new club that I am starting. It's kicking off in April with this newest release by Simone St. James. I'll have that video linked in the card up above, so if you want to check that out and see if you want to join us, all the details can be found in that video. As far as what all I read this week, I did finish Piranesi by Susanna Clarke after filming last week, and I loved it. When I was editing that video, I had actually finished reading it that morning before I got started, and I was cracking up at myself at all of the things that I said because I was so wrong about all of my theories, all of the things that I was talking about. This book was so good. I loved it. I will absolutely read it again because it's just so thought-provoking. It really made me exercise my brain. I think this might be a book that I reread each year. I think it's one that I could still have fun imagining and coming up with theories. Even though I know the ending, I still want to reread it again and see if I can arrive at that ending with what was happening along the way. If that makes any type of sense, I don't know, but I loved it. Absolutely loved it. It is not one that is going to be for everybody. You really have to trust the author to get you there in the beginning. I was so lost, but then I started having fun and I don't even know where that happened. But I would say if you're not sure this is one for you, rent it from your library or try to catch it on sale through Kindle. I also can I call it a reread? So The Goners by Elle Stevenson. I read it last year. It's one of my favorite reads of 2021. It is the favorite true crime story I've ever read to date. And I read it again last night, except I read the revised edition. There's a prologue added. There's just some information here and there that just really helps flesh out certain things about characters or the story that Elle Stevenson just tweaked a little bit, made it just a smidge better, and I loved it. I had just as much fun rereading it as I did reading it the first time. Even though I knew what was going to happen, it's like I was hoping and wishing I could make something change. Nothing changed. I can't tell you what I was hoping and wishing about because spoilers, but it is so much fun. I thought that thrillers might not be as good the second time as the first time because you know what's going to happen, but I found that I still really enjoyed this one. What was happening is I still was getting that huge rush of adrenaline reading the chapters that were from the serial killer's point of view. I still got that same rush of adrenaline, but this time, knowing the ending, I noticed more things the second time around that pointed to what was happening, but I just totally missed it the first time. Absolutely loved it. Cannot wait to read the sequel to The Goners next month. That is the Boatmore Butcher. If you would like to join the Discord while I buddy read of that, I will have it linked in the description box below. On audiobook, I finished The Stranger Times by C.K. McDonald. I loved this book. It is hilarious. It is my second favorite urban fantasy, second to the Dresden Files. But I wish those two series could just have a crossover because it would be epic. The Stranger Times is a newspaper where all of the things that go bump in the night are reported. And it's so clever. Oh, I don't want to tell you that. It's a spoiler. It's hilarious. The characters are hilarious. The narrator for this one, Brendan McDonald, is a genius. His narration of this book is just as good and important as the written words by C.K. McDonald. In fact, it was so good. I enjoyed it so much. I had so much fun with The Stranger Times that I did something I have not done in years. I went immediately into the second book of the series. That's right. We'll kind of segue a little bit over into what I'm currently reading. I got This Charming Man, which is the second book in the Stranger Times series. Started it. I'm almost done with it already as well. It is that good. I literally laugh out loud when listening to this story. It is so good. You know what? I'll just go ahead and film a little video review of The Stranger Times so you can get more information on what that one is about and just hear a little bit more about it and see if that's one you might be interested in picking up. So when I finish filming this wrap up, I'll just go ahead and film that so I can hurry up and get it on the channel for you guys so you can come talk to me about it and we can laugh together about the characters. Thank you so much to Ev who sent me The Stranger Times and got me hooked on this one. The only regret I have is that there are only 2 books in the series. However, if you get the audiobook for The Stranger Times, the author tells you at the end to go to the website, thestrangertimes.com, sign up for his mailing list, and he'll send you the short stories that are companion to The Stranger Times. So let's see. Oh, I also read Stringers by Chris Panettiere. That is a science fiction novel that was also absolutely hilarious. You know, maybe that's why I had such a good time reading this week. I read some really great stories, but that had a lot of humor to them. So this one is about a fellow named Ben. Ben is in his late 20s and he works at a fishing tackle shop. Ben is kind of stagnant in his life. He kind of gets in his own way because he can't move on from the fact that he doesn't know what is up with himself. He has all of this knowledge about watches and sexual preferences, reproduction habits of insects and animals. He did not learn this information. He was born with it and he just spouts it out randomly. So school was interesting for him, to say the very least. For the longest time, Ben's parents tried to figure out what was wrong with him. They thought maybe he was a genius, but testing proved that that was not the case. And then they just kind of gave up. Ben never did. And so he's been on the internet here and there trying to figure out what is causing it, why he's like this, or at least if there's somebody like him. And then one night, he makes a connection to someone, which leads him and his best friend, Patton, who I want a Patton in my life, okay? You will too, trust me. But Ben and Patton end up getting abducted by an alien. Things just get real interesting after that. And I'm not kidding. It is hilarious, but there's a very interesting story that explains what the title is about. I'm not going to tell you because it's something you discover organically through reading the book, and I think you find out what that is at the right time of the story, if that makes sense, which is something the author did really well in my opinion. He taught you things at the right time of the story, like when you were ready. And there's an order to it where you're given this information and taught it really well what that means. And then it primes you for the next bit of information. Like he doesn't slam you with all this science stuff at once. It's just sprinkled throughout. It was just an amazing story. It's the first one I've read by Chris Panettiere. I tore through it. It was so good. I really clicked with the writing style of the author. I don't know that all of his books are this hilariously written, but if he maintains that same type of writing style, I'm gonna click with anything he writes. So amazing. I love it. That one's not out yet. That one comes out April 12th from Angry Robot Books. I'll put all that information down in the description box below for you. That takes care of all the books I read. As far as what I'm reading, I already mentioned I was listening to This Charming Man on audiobook. So that will bring us to what am I going to read next? Well, first up, I have ready to go The Tunnel by Joseph Sale. This is book 2 in his Illuminod series. While it is part of a series, it is a standalone. So you do not have to have read Dark Hilarity first. This one can be read all by itself. This one is about a monster that haunts London. People believe it is the reincarnation of Jack the Ripper. I cannot wait to read this. When I finish recording this video for you guys today, this is the book I'm going to be instantly picking up. I've already got my bookmark in it. I've got my journal spread already made, ready to make some notes and see what I think about this one. I also have here my read of John Gwynn's The Shadow of the Gods. I am hoping to blaze through this one because Orbit was kind enough to give me access to the e-arc for Hunger of the Gods. So I want to get that read and reviewed before it goes live. And that means I need to read this book. I know so many of my friends absolutely love this book. So many people 5-starred it. I can't wait to see what I'm going to think about it. It's John Gwynn though. I have loved him since I met him in Malice. I am ready for some Gwynn in my life. It's been too long since I read anything by him. So I will be digging into this one as soon as I finish The Tunnel, which could possibly be tomorrow. This book is short. It's only about 185 pages, so we'll see how that goes. Guys, that's going to bring us to the end of this week's wrap up. Everything I read, what I'm still reading, and what I plan to read next. Thank you so much for watching today. Have a fantastic weekend. I love you. I'll catch you in the next one.